Hello, friends of La Huertina de Toni. Welcome to another video where today I was about to prepare a legume stew, and when adding the potatoes, I found that they have a small sprout, which is very common, especially if we store the potatoes in the kitchen. On David Karnakoin katostun sikusitos how we can grow potatoes without using any potato, as you usually know that potatoes or pieces of potato are planted. So let's learn how we can grow potatoes in our kitchen without spending any potato. As I said, I was about to cook, and I have these two potatoes with these sprouts. This one too.
Oh, well, nothing. As simple as when picking up the potato, we turn it a few times and cut this little section. The same here. If we can't turn it because it looks very small, we can use a nail, or when we go with the knife, give it a cut. Okay? Very simple. We take out all these sections. Here, there's still more. If we left the potato for a few more days, this would finish growing and it would help us to cultivate potatoes. Look, here we have another sprout, so we give it a few turns and take it out. We already have everything we need. And here we have all the materials we are going to need. I am going to use yogurt cups. One should be a pot because it needs drainage, and the other should be a cup. Here we have the potato segments. As you can see, we are not using the potatoes for anything. A little bit of substrate, some toothpicks, and water. So in this one, we are going to do it with water. We will use two methods, and what we have to do is take the piece, and where we have cut, that is the part that will go down. And you see this tip where the new stem is sprouting, we leave it facing up. We are going to stick, in this case, two toothpicks. We can use 2 or 3 toothpicks. I am going to use 2. Maybe I'll use 3 to make it more stable. No, we have to put it a bit vertically, okay? So that you'll see now. Let's use 3 toothpicks instead, so it holds better. And this one, as you can see, we already have it ready. Simply, we are going to place it in the yogurt cup or the cup and fill with water, so it's well moistened. You see? We place the toothpicks a bit diagonally, so they provide support, and we don't have to fill the water all the way to the top. See, the sprout is upward and the other part downward? Perfect. I've placed another one, as you can see. We can simply add as many as we want, leave a little space, and we're done. If not, we can also use the small glasses. Now just leave it next to a window. I have it here in my area for plants and cuttings. And we'll wait a few days, and I'll keep you updated on the progress. And I have set this one aside to use another method. I prefer the water method, especially for doing it with kids, because that way they can watch how the roots and the sprout develop. So, with a yogurt cup or a pot, we fill it with substrate. No need to make any kind of mix. Any substrate will do. And we fill it almost to the top. We press down. I add a little more, like this. Perfect. And now I have a pencil here. Let's make a hole so we don't damage our sprout. Like this. And as before, we also have to leave the tip facing up and what we cut facing down. Like so. We press a little without overdoing it and cover. And we have this one too. As I tell you, I prefer the method with the glass of water, because that way we can see the progress. But both are equally valid.
Important, as always, to have planted something. After having planted or sown something, we are going to give it a very good watering. Since this is the first watering,
so that it is abundant enough to keep the entire substrate moist. As in the other case, well, we simply place it on our tray where it receives sunlight, and in a few days, just a second for you, I'll tell you about the progress. A week has passed, and look how our sprouts are doing. They are putting out a lot of roots and are starting to grow the stems. And if we look at the one we have buried, it's also sprouting a bud. So we will keep waiting. But our experiment of germinating potatoes without potatoes is truly a success. Another week has passed, and look at how the one we planted in the substrate has grown. In fact, if you notice, it's sprouting a new stem. And yet, the ones in water, even though they might be more appealing to children, still haven't developed the stem. So, well,
We can see the difference. And you have already seen how we can sprout a potato without using a potato. Simply by taking the shoot, that little eye that the potato has, we can have our potato crop.
Now we have two options. In upcoming videos, I would like to try something I saw at a fair, which is grafting a tomato plant onto a potato stem. So I'm going to start planting tomatoes to try grafting. If it succeeds, I'll upload it to the La Huertina de Toni channel. The other option would be to transplant it. We need a large pot, approximately 30 centimeters in diameter and 30 in depth at least to get a good harvest. I have also seen on the internet, which I will leave in the video description, some bags ideal for growing potatoes in places with little space. We can also plant this in its final place in the garden and get a very good potato harvest. And the garden them, because when you have in water, obviously they will go much lower. And maybe the most interesting thing is to also put them in a pot. I'm going to put them in yogurt cups too, because as I said, I want to see if we can successfully graft tomato onto potato. So nothing more, garden friends, a short, simple and fun video to experiment with, and I hope you liked it, but most importantly, that it helped you. So we'll see you next Thursday on the channel La Huertina de Toni. See you later.